What can you do with 2.23 volts and less than half an amp? What can you do with that? you could make a American Fire Pacific turn on the Groovy rolling road with lumpy wheels and bent axles and Lord knows what. This is a very old chassis that I have had and done things to that should never be repeated out loud. And oh my goodness. I don't have my camera on. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. You can see material's been cut away and things have been ground off and all that. It's got a ball bearing in front. It's got the Fat Man magnets and the arc and the black fields. It's got a real lumpy front wheel. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like stuff growing out of it. Something's not right with the links because they rattle and carry on when I jack it up, but boy, it is it's the smoothest. You can't hear anything. All you hear is this one wheel over here that's all caca. Look at that. It's amazing what you can see in this rolling road thing. That one's all wigged out. Those two front wheels need work. But at any rate, I just threw it together. It had one of the old frames in it, the red ones. That's 5 volts. It's gonna fly around. It's not really gonna be much fun to watch because it's so lumpy. Yeah, it would go 31 volts. I had it up, and it was about ready to take flight. But the point here is these old motors, we always thought they were amp hogs, and we wanted to get to the cans, and yes, the cans are great, but oh man, you can really update these old motors and make them into something really respectable. Good power, smooth operator. Why these guys, they just can't play well together. No way, no how. They're just constantly nudging each other. You walk away for a minute and they're at it. Okay, I've been busy on some CAD stuff. I just threw this together at the end of the day because I love watching the motors work a lot more than some other things. We had a power outage for about 2 hours. I lost all internet connection. Unfortunately, I also lost my home router, so I had to go around and reset all that junk. I'm trying to print one of Leon's chassis. I had his chassis worked out, came up with some dimensional issues I needed to work through. We're going to put the power board in the same spot back here, but the soundboard I needed to shorten and bring it up. The soundboard is well, it was here. I don't know, I moved things around. At any rate, there is the new soundboard's coming. Andy's working on it. There's the one chip that'll be with it. It's going to have an opto coupler chip that I was referred to, and it looks very nice, and I found them reasonably priced. Oh, here it is. They were priced easier than me to build my little contraption here, which everyone thought, yeah, you just reverse engineered an IC. Okay, so there I did. At any rate, so he goes like that, so you can change the sounds. You change the sounds by popping that little memory thing out, and then this is the radio signal card, so it comes in there however it goes, and then that'll sit like that. That just sticks up, don't worry about it. And then this has already been all hacked up, you know that, and we've been working on the last bit And we have the 4 sounds, which will be a bell and a whistle, and and 2 other sounds. I'm thinking like a station announcement, like on track, 3, here comes Southside, or an all aboard, Illinois Central leaving for Champaign or whatever. But one thing I had issues with was I needed a chuff trigger, and this is a board that we made almost a year ago, maybe 9 months ago. It's a PC board, and all it does is it makes a sound. We used to call them noise boards. They just made noise, but this noise is designed to sound like hissing steam, close to a chuff. It's not a really good chuff, but it's pretty decent. And oddly enough, this board fits right in that little cavity right there. Up here is going to be a pair of the volt regulators, and here will be a speaker for these sounds, and this sound, and this will all be triggered by the mechanism on the engine. And I think this is a winner, because this thing always, it'll chuff at high speed. It'll make that sound at high speed. Your smoke's going, your brain's going to put it all together and say, oh, here comes the engine. And so at any rate, I'm printing this new base plate in black. I had black. Andy's designing this PC board in the next couple of days. I'm hoping, I asked him please and thank you and everything. We'll see when he has time. I know he's busy and all. And then this board's done, and Dan is building me a couple of extra of these. He may ship them up here in a day or two. This is number 3. Well, that's an old one. I was like 7, 8, and 9 or around there somewhere. I always number these because every once in a while I get a bad one and I know which one it was. Okay, that's what we did today. Oh, and then somebody mentioned the fact that the newer S-gauge engines could use my rolling road if I had a power pickup from the track, because they get their power from the drive wheels or the front and rear trucks on the steam engine. Oh dear. Well, so the only thing I could think of was to take I have this beryllium copper wire, which is highly conductive, but you can't bend it. And so I put a hole in the bottom here. You can barely tell. There's a hole here and a hole there. So a piece of wire could run that length, okay? And then that piece of wire, if you ran it, you stick it down there, down that hole, over here, up that hole. Now you got it up here. I'm going to put a groove in here, and I'm actually going to bring this centerpiece is wrong. It's got to come down here. We're going to wrap it around the wheel, around the axle, so it rubs on the bearing, and then I'm going to bring it down here, wrap it around a screw head, and then tighten it up. So screw down here, it's out of the way. We'll tighten that up, and that'll hold the power pickup from this rail up to this bearing, so when the wheel's on that bearing, it'll have contact with the track. So we'll be able to provide power to the trucks in the newer engines and in the diesels. There's a trick I learned the other day where I create this path, and then I can look down the end of the wire. It's crazy. And I can create a shape, and then I can subtract that shape, and so I end up with a little groove in the plastic. I can make a change on this, and anyway, it'll come to, you'll see it. I better save this before the lights go out. That's another thing that I'm working on. Always something, right? Always something. But my Octo relay board chips will be here Thursday. Tomorrow I'm getting heat sinks for these guys, and we're going to be able to construct and deliver a robust piece of gear that's going to have smoke and chuff and 4 sounds and it will likely be using one of these to make those sounds. There it is. That's what we did. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we are doing. And this is one of the latest in the. Oh, I'll show you the latest. It's on here. This is a new chassis for the Northern. Okay, I'll be right up. If you have these that are damaged or missing, we can print a pretty darn good replica. I'm going to have the steps will be separate. I've already test fit the reverse unit. It bolts right in, so it can support the vintage reverse. Bolts right in. Rivets would bolt right in, or you could wedge them in like you would a real engine. It has all the right bolt patterns and the standoffs and all that stuff, and then you could mount that up, and you could have your Northern chassis and take off. Now I'm gonna, as soon as I get this finalized and off to Tim, the client, I'm going to make another one, but I'm going to make it, with what I do, I'm going to make it for my 3D trucks and all-wheel pickup and not fingers and drums reverse. Right? We're going to make it with digital capabilities. And that's a bit of a challenge because, as you can see, this is the skinniest chassis Fire ever made. And that bottom of that is all tight. See how tight that is? I built them before. The only way I could get my parts in was I had to take this off and slide them in, and they were raised off the bottom so that they were in a wider portion, and I could just slide them in barely. So I think I'm going to have to do that trick again to get the digitals into the Northern chassis. But I think that's the only one that's going to be a hard case on it. Okay, I gotta go. I'm late. All right.